Today's video is going to be all about how to minimize your risk when it comes to trading on the market, because I don't want anyone to go through sort of like what I've been through with this account. So I'm going to talk today about how to minimize your risk. So what do I mean by that? Practices and that look like or could be perceived as bot behavior, market manipulation, all these other sort of like things that could get you potentially false flagged. So one of the things would be selling a player near max price. It's like their price was a certain amount, so this card's going for 200 coins. So a bronze player going for 200 coins. If they suddenly spike up to 5k, which I think most of them go for about, I think the price ranges are about 5k now. But if you're selling at max price and there's sort of like multiple listings, that looks very suspicious. So the sort of like more you do that, the more risk you're taking on in order to get. And so how do you minimize your risk with that? Not selling at the max price. I know you're leaving profit on the table. I know that's very hard to sort of like do. But just a bit sort of like, so if it was going for 5k, I'd be trying to sell for 4k. I know I'm leaving that k on the table, but you really don't want to go through the process of trying to get your account unbanned. Who else? So that was for bronzes. Same thing applies to silvers. So that was bronzes. Same thing applies to silvers. Some of these like spike up for the evos and that recently. So if they've all spiked up to 10k and you've got multiple of them, so I'll be bringing that down to about 8 or 9k. I wouldn't be selling a mass at the same time. These are all things that look, if you think about it, if you ask yourself the question, does this look like, I know you're trading legit and the demand has spiked and that, but does this look like bot behavior? If there's multiple listings and you're selling them all at max price, and say you're the first one in as well, and it hasn't been that price for a little while or anything like that, I would find it suspicious just looking at the data if I was looking at it. So some people use the trading method SBC solution trading. When the solutions come out, people go out and buy that sort of like one player, even though multiple ones would fit. But because that's the top on the SBC solution, you'll see a sudden spike in value before the next solution comes out that's sort of like of cheaper sort of like value, as it were. So some of these players spike. This is like a micro spike. Well, I mean, it's still fair as in percentage, but it's like not many coins. But some of these players spike from about 200 coins to up to 5k sometimes if you get the right sort of like player. But that does look very suspicious, so that can trigger bans. So I would be very careful with using that method, or not sell them for near max. So same thing runs with golds. If they've suddenly spiked to max price, then it does look very sort of like suspicious. If ever you're unsure or are taking on more risk, I would try to document your trades if possible. I know it's a hassle, it's a pain in the ass, but if you're a bit unsure, then at least you've got that to sort of like fall back on if you do run into any issues. So it's more like asking yourself the question, like, does this look like bot behavior? Does this look suspicious? So if you're legit trading and you're saying this can be misinterpreted as something like that, then you're probably taking on more risk than you would have otherwise wanted to. So I'll be very careful with selling any cards for like double the price for like either lazies and getting lucky with getting an odd sale, or triple the price. I would try and bring that down a bit to, say, if you've got a 10k card, selling it for anywhere between 15 and 18k. So if you're sort of like going for the sort of like lazy sort of like seller approach, I just want to talk about these scream cards quickly. So so you're going to have a lot of them get 99 on certain card stats. So this is going to be an interesting one. So I was just talking about the lazy sells and like the spike in price. These scream cards are going to be interesting because some of these cards, if they end up getting 99 on a stat like pace, and a lot of people are wanting them in their team, it could go from like 15k to like, I don't know, 50, 60k possibly, if he's sort of like really meta, got decent play styles, etc., etc. But with that spike in price from the 15k that he's sort of like been consistently at, and then suddenly triple all the price, is that going to cause loads of flags in the system and people to get unnecessarily sort of like banned, even though it is just market demand increasing? It'd be very interesting to see if there's any of these sort of like cases that come about. I mean, I hope it doesn't happen, and it's like people are going to make a lot of coins from it. But if the automated system that I don't know how their automated, I don't know how EA's automated system works, but if they're probably not going to change it for something like a sudden spike in temporary boost for like an ultimate scream card. So you're going to have people getting banned unnecessarily for just literally the market demand. But I'll be very interested to know if that does end up being the case. So if you're buying cards and that to get the flips and that in Friday, try and sell before the bubble. The bubble's usually about 8 o'clock. So I'd be selling before, like after content, before 8 o'clock, if you can. Stay safe out there. It's going to be a hectic Friday. So I hope you found some value in this, and I hope you don't have to go through what I had to go through. Thank you for watching the video.